calendar dictates that we're not going to be able to play the first 2 series of the regular season, and those games are officially canceled.
Welcome back to the rally. That was Rob Manfred just moments ago. 5 p.m. Eastern today was the new extended deadline to come up with a CBA. The Players Association rejected the league's final offer, and as he said, it resulted in the cancellation of the first 2 series of the season. It's a sad day for baseball. I mean, I think we, as much as we tried to stay optimistic, I think we kind of all knew that this was coming, right, Russ?
Absolutely, and I think if you take the temperature of people around the game, even before this year started, even going back to 2021, there were talks of, May. You even hear June if you talk to people, because I don't think people really understood the level that the Players Association just did not agree with or were aligned with owners and Major League Baseball. And because of that, now you're in a situation where you have the commissioner just saying that they were going to cancel the first 2 series of the season. If you're a fan around the game that you've been waiting for a resolution for this long, and you've been hearing different things, hearing things from the PA, hearing things from the owners and Major League Baseball, at some point you're just kind of just like, I mean, who cares about me as a fan? Like, I watch the product, I buy the product, I go to the product. I'm the person, I am the group of people as fans that are responsible for keeping the game going. Yeah. And if you're a younger fan of baseball, or if you're somebody who's on the fence, like, I kind of like baseball.
This was supposed to be my year.
Right. If you were on the fence.
On the fence.
If you're a guy like Joshua who's on the fence about baseball, man, Josh just scored 52 and has highlights every night. Why would I care about baseball right now?
I mean, NFL free agency's getting ready to heat up. We got the combine. I mean, seriously. And so you also get into the messaging, right? And the commissioner works basically as a mouthpiece for the ownership. And so in the statement from the commissioner, he says the calendar dictates, right? So there's active voice and there's passive voice, and that is as passive as you can get. The calendar didn't dictate anything. The owners locked the players out, and then they really didn't want to budge, and the players didn't either, and you have to mention that. But the reason that we're at this point is because the owners did not want to let the players in. They wanted to kick the can down the road, wait as long as possible before they negotiated. Then they set deadlines on when things had to happen, and all of a sudden we're going to be missing out on games. And so it's really tough. But the question always comes, and I'll let you get back in on this, Russ, but the question always comes as a player, when is enough enough? Because the owners, as much as they'll try to cry poor and say, well, all my value's wrapped up in the team and all these other things, they'll figure it out. When you're a player and you start missing those checks, it's like, okay, I'm getting a little bit itchy, so I'll take a worse deal than I would have wanted to, just so I can actually get the money coming back into the bank account.
There's so many elements to this that the normal fan probably doesn't really understand. There's even parts of it that I don't really understand. But why was it so important for the Players Association to stand firm on their decision? I mean,
it just shows how united they were on these different issues, whether it's minimum salaries and increasing that in Major League Baseball, wanting to have more competitiveness in the game, and then ultimately the CBT that we talked about, and kind of trying to inform people what that actually meant, the competitive balance threshold and tax, and why that's so important. If you're a big market team, you're not going to be worried about spending $220, $230 million on payroll. But if you're one of those smaller market teams, I don't have that. I can't compete with the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and the Cubs, teams of that caliber. So I need to make sure we're status quo. And players didn't want that. And I think from what the commissioner said about the calendar dictates, okay, if you're going to say that, you can't go 43 days without having a proposal on the table and without even speaking to the Players Association.
That's the point I was getting at, is they ensured that the calendar would dictate what's happening right now, and then to try to skirt the ownership of how that happened is wild to me. But this is a part of the messaging too, and I want people to understand how this is all unfolding and how it's coming out, and to think about it from a different perspective.
It was also the same person that said he was not concerned about games being canceled.